In today's video, we're going to be going over some 10+ hour strong performing cheap winter fragrances that you could spend not a lot on and get great results from. So I already did my top 10 winter fragrances video here recently, a little bit ahead of schedule because it got cold pretty quickly. And in that video, we had kind of somewhat a variety of price ranges, but I wouldn't really consider any of them to be cheap. A lot of them were designer scents that were going to be, you know, at least mid-range, if not on the upper end of mid-range. A lot of them $70, $80, $100 or so, right? And that could be a little bit too much for some people. They might not want to spend that much or feel comfortable spending that much. And if that's you, well, we've got some cheap ones here. And for cheap, we're looking at basically everything $40 or less is where we're trying to keep it. Some are going to be right on the line, others quite a bit under that. The other criteria, of course, is performance, because there's really no point in spending $30 on a cheap scent that doesn't last at all when you could spend, you know, maybe a little bit more than double that and get a product that actually does perform where you can get your money's worth out of. So today we're talking about strong performing cheap winter scents. We're gonna get things kicked off with a scent from Lattafa. It is Khamrah Qahwa. This is basically that original Khamrah DNA with a wonderful roasted coffee accord. So it has that praline and that sweet tonka and kind of the dates accord and the cinnamon and everything that we know from that original, which is essentially trying to emulate Killian Angel share. But then they're just adding in coffee on top of that pre-existing smell is essentially what you get here in Khamrah Qahwa. Now, you could go for the original as well. There are many options that you could go with even outside of this lineup. In general, Lattafa is a clone brand that puts out some really solid, strong scents, and you could go for any from the brand just about and get great performance. But this is one that I really enjoy because I like coffee. And so when I have a scent that just has a really solid coffee note, typically I'm going to like it. And I do here. Nice roasted coffee, smells great, and it's not too overbearing either. Everything else still mixes together perfectly. And again, this should go without saying, but this is a sweet fragrance. If you're somebody who doesn't like sweet fragrances, or at least not ones that are overly sweet, I would be cautious with something like this, because it is, you know, it's definitely not holding back. Now, if you are somebody who doesn't like sweet fragrances, this next one will be perfect for you. This one is coming in at around $30. If I didn't say the price on the Lattafa, I think usually, I don't know, maybe around 40 or so. I can't remember off the top of my head. But this next one here is going to be somewhere in that $30 range. It's Bentley for Men Absolute. This one is phenomenal if you want a strong woody and earthy based scent. This is basically all about the cedarwood, the pink pepper, and the papyrus. It gives it this strong, masculine, woody, smoky, and earthy smell. There is not much of a sweetness out of this one, okay? If there is, it might be just a little bit of what I perceive to be like this whiskey or rum accord off the opening, but that does dissipate when we start getting into the dry down. But other than that, it's a masculine smelling, strong, woody scent of the more traditional variety. So for example, Lattafa Khamrah, right? Very sweet, might not smell like a men's scent in the traditional sense, right? But this is something that has more of that woodiness, more of that masculine edge that a lot of older school scents had, right? That we've kind of gotten away from as we've moved through all the different trends and stuff. But, you know, back several years ago, this was kind of what you would expect out of a men's fragrance. Strong, sharp, woody, and just truly masculine smelling. And so that's kind of what this is. You could say that it has maybe a little bit more of a classic feel to it, but at the same time, it's not something that smells old. You know, it doesn't smell old school or anything like that, in my opinion. Some might disagree, but, you know, this to me is still something that you could easily pull off today, right? Even heading into 2026, it's not going to smell too out of place. In fact, I think a lot of people would really appreciate this one because it does go against the grain. It goes against what they're usually used to smelling, and that's what I like about it. And again, the price point, you cannot beat it. $30 range. The entire Bentley for Men lineup is solid, and all are going to be roughly around that same price point. You really can't go wrong with any of them, but I do enjoy this one a lot. Great quality to go along with that amazing performance as well. This is great for wintertime. It cuts through the cold air really well because of the dry woods and the nice spices in here. Let's keep it moving with Paco Rabanne Pure XS black, or I'm sorry, it's black XS. So this looks like Pure XS because of the bottle. This is the new updated bottle here, but it is Paco Rabanne Black XS. This one has praline, citruses, and lemon, and they've got a lot of other notes going on as well, like a vanilla tonka combination, but really when you look at it, those are kind of the main ones there. The praline, it gives it this overwhelming sweet smell, but then you see citruses right alongside of it, kind of, you know, polar opposites coming together here, and you might think, how does that work? Well, in this instance here, it actually works really well. This doesn't smell too out of place. They blend pretty well, and it gives you the perfect mixture of sweet and strong and kind of syrupy, but also kind of bright, light, and fresh at the same time. Now, the citruses are mostly off the opening. As you wear this one further, those will dissipate as you get into the sweeter notes, but it is a nice, pleasant surprise when you spray this one to get that citrus opening. And, you know, they list off citruses and lemon. You definitely do get kind of a sour lemon accord to go along with the generalized citruses that they list off there. You know, this is going to be kind of back on track with more of that sweeter style men's scent that we're used to these days, even though this is not new at all. This has been around for a long time. Started off in a different looking bottle, and then they changed it over. But, you know, this is something that has been around, and this is kind of where that shift started to occur, at least somewhere along the line. I'm not saying that Paco Rabanne Black XS caused that, but Rabanne or Paco Rabanne is a brand that is known for diving into the sweeter men's scents. They've been doing it for a while and still are, and so you could probably say that maybe they did contribute to that movement there a little bit. But this one is great, an affordable price with great performance. Joop Homme Absolute. I believe I checked the price on this, $28, $30 or something like that. Really, really solid price for what you get. Nice, cool looking bottle here with some yellow accenting. This one has black pepper, incense, and tonka bean, and I believe ylang ylang as well, although I can't remember for sure, but I do believe that was a note in here too. So there's a black pepper, but I definitely get a cinnamon for sure. I mean, just taking the cap off and smelling it here, this black pepper cinnamon sweet smell, the incense gives it this smoky smell that you would expect, of course, which is something that you often don't really get from cheaper fragrances. A nice smoky incense scent, usually you got to pay up for. Nice smooth, creamy, sweet tonka bean to go along with that as well. Man, this one is great. Also nothing new, and not new to the channel. I've talked about this one on the channel for years. You can go look back at some of my videos a couple of years ago or more. I've always really liked this one. It offers great value. You know, you just don't normally get cheap fragrances with this type of power and that are this good for winter, and also this unique because it does stand out. Another cool little detail is, look at the yellow on the atomizer there. This the slightest little bit, but you can perceive it, and that's just a cool little touch. Overall, a nice scent. If you want something different, if you want something that stands out a little bit more, that doesn't really blend in like maybe some of these other scents might, like Rabanne Black XS, for example, you know, this is something that is different in a good way, and you might be inclined to pick this up if you want to have a bit of a different and unique wearing experience. This next one is Halloween Man Shot. So you hear about Halloween Man X all the time, but this one is a great version as well. This one has iris, vanilla, and cardamom. Man, that note breakdown pretty much sells me instantly, mostly the iris. But all three, iris, cardamom, love them. Vanilla, big fan as well. And you might ask, well, how is this one constructed in terms of blend here? Well, it's not what I would consider to be a full-blown iris scent like a Dior Homme Intense, Gentleman, Eau de Parfum, and so on. The iris is more so blended in. It's not quite at the forefront. It is perceivable, no doubt, but again, it's just not what I would consider to be an iris-forward scent. It's blended in really well with that vanilla, with that cardamom spice, with that tonka in here as well. I believe that this one has a daiquiri note, although maybe I'm getting it mixed up with something else. But either way, it just, man, it smells nice. I love it. Sweet, smooth, warm, spicy, kind of peppery as well. And yet another head turner. This is something that, again, other people aren't going to be wearing because you just don't hear about this ever. It's probably not readily available in retailers, right? So, you know, that's kind of a factor that often plays into how popular something gets. And, you know, there's just not really anything that smells quite like this to where it could get mistaken with something else. So yet another release where if you want to stand out and you're on a budget, but you don't want to sacrifice performance, give Halloween Man Shot a try. Really, really good. And again, Halloween Man X, Another great one that's going to fit that criteria as well, although a little bit more popular, but does have a nice whiskey coffee accord. All right, this next one is, clean off the bottle here, Roberto Cavalli Uomo. Now, they did change the bottle. However, you could still get this bottle right now, okay? It's on discounters. I'll link this one down below, but they did recently update the bottle. Now, I haven't tried the new bottle yet, so I can't say for sure whether there's a difference in smell. I'm wagering on probably not, but you never know, right? So if you want to play it safe, just get this bottle still while you can. Personally, I prefer these bottles. I like them. Maybe I would change my mind, I guess, at some point, but I like this older looking bottle here. And again, you can still get these for $30 to $40. This one has honey, violet leaf, and tonka. Really interesting mixture. Sweetness from that honey, this kind of fresh, watery, purple smell from the violet leaf, which always, why do I say it's purple? I don't know. It smells like the color of purple for whatever reason in my mind. And then tonka bean, if I didn't say that already, just kind of a powdery sweetness here, but it's an interesting mixture, really, because honey, violet leaf, not something I would normally expect to see together, but it works really well, and that's what I like about this one. Something where when you look at it, you look at the note breakdown, you're thinking, really? Like that's what they have here? It kind of makes you scratch your head, and you're excited to try it. You're kind of intrigued by it, and then when you do try it, you realize, hey, this is actually something pretty cool, something that's different and that's out of the normal reach, I suppose, especially for a cheap scent. You know, it's when you have something like this that really stands out and does something different, and they're not charging $100 for it, or at least you don't have to pay $100 for it, that's pretty cool. Because realistically, they are probably charging $100 for it, Roberto Cavalli, but discounters are a different story, which is where we shop at, where you can get this one for $30 to $40. So definitely a solid pickup with great performance for winter. Let's keep it moving with another praline-based scent. It is Rabanne Ultrared. Blood orange, vanilla, tonka bean, and praline. Another interesting one where it's sweet mixed with a little bit of a brightness, kind of like Rabanne Black XS. You know, Paco Rabanne, they've got a few cheaper scents that perform really good. And, you know, that's cool because obviously the Invictus series and the 1 million series and things like that are not cheap. They're on the pricier end of things even still, but they do have a few kind of lingering around older releases that you could pick up for a cheapy price. This is one of them. Again, this one I think is as low as $28 to $30 sometimes. There's some patchouli in here as well, which is definitely perceivable. Not so much off the opening, but when this starts to dry down, you do get more of a masculine smell, more of a mature smell, and kind of an earthiness too. It kind of catches you by surprise. You see it listed off, you don't expect to pick up on it, but you do, and that's what I like. So really, really nice one here. Affordable price, great performer. Almost done with this video. We have Rochas Man Intense. This one has cappuccino, cedarwood, and vanilla. Another coffee scent. You guys know it. I love my coffee scents. Now, this one's interesting because it's cappuccino. And that's not them saying, hey, let's, instead of calling it coffee, we'll call it cappuccino just for marketing, right? Because that's what I thought this was going to be. It actually is a creamier, lighter coffee accord. It's not roasted coffee beans, kind of like in Lattafa, Khamrah, Qahwa, or, you know, some other coffee-based scents, right? It's creamier, it's milkier, it's smoother, almost a slight sandalwood accord to go along with it to really smooth it out. So it does smell different. It's still a coffee accord, just of a different variety. And that's what I like about this. It smells wonderful. Smooth, sweet, seductive. Rochas Man Intense is amazing. Now, it's very similar in smell to the original, although it just performs way better and is a bit richer. And to me, there's no reason not to get the Intense version because you don't really pay a whole lot more for it and you just get a way better product. So get this one. Alrighty guys, last up for this video, we have Ferragamo Uomo. This is just the original here. Basically has tonka bean, sweet notes, and a little bit of ambroxan off the opening, but it's sweet. From absolute beginning to end, start to finish, it is a sweet base scent. I caution you with this one as well. Some of these are not quite as extreme, but this one is. It is, there's no getting around it. Now, the good news is that, of course, it's in this video for a reason. It's affordable. It's cheap even. Usually going to be somewhere $30, $35 for this. And that's 100 ml, that's full presentation, that's all of the works here, so really not bad at all. You know, worst case, if you buy it, at $35 and don't like it, well, at least you didn't spend $80 or $100 or $150 on it and not like it. Still sucks, but I would also say this. Don't write it off right away. Don't give it away. Don't throw it away. Don't completely condemn it yet. Hold on to it. Revisit it every now and then. There's such a tendency for fragrances to grow on you over time, and that could happen with this or any of these if you don't like them off the first spray. So that's my advice of the day because it's happened to me several times. Alrighty guys, that's gonna do it for me. Some cheap but good performing winter fragrances. I will link them all down below so that way you can get them at actual cheap prices and not retail. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.